Brian, we'll start with you, and then Josh take over after Brian. Tell us about yourself, Brian. Where are you at? What are you doing? What's your experience, and what can you add to the group to add value to everybody?
So I'm actually a software consultant located in Lewisville, and I have a couple small businesses, actually selling an ice cream shop right now. And
Really?
That's kind of been where my focus has been, and probably ignorantly avoided real estate. There's too many deals that seem like they weren't really deals, so I avoided getting into real estate. But it's too hot to avoid.
Yeah. So you're in Lewisville, Texas, like 20 minutes from me, right?
Right.
Okay. Where's your ice cream shop, brother?
Addison in Colligo.
Okay. I like ice cream. I've been all over the ice cream, man. So I can appreciate that. Why are you selling it?
Literally just flipping it.
Okay.
So I bought it really cheap. So yeah, I'm actually trying to focus on flipping businesses. So come in, clean them up, get everything straightened up, and turn them around.
You're the second person I've talked to this week that's doing that. And it's interested me, but I didn't know that it could actually be done. So maybe you and I can catch up and talk a little bit more about that later. I would love the opportunity to pick your brain.
Sure.
If you're open to.
That's fun for me.
Okay. Very cool. Abdullah, thank you for joining us, my friend. Josh, tell us about yourself.
So I'm a college student in North Carolina, and I'm a full-time stock trader, but I'm also getting into wholesaling. And so far, I completed 2 wholesale deals, but I'm trying to, get better at it.
Nice. So what are you going to school for? I'm curious.
Business and finance.
Okay. Have you had that aha moment yet where you read the first chapter of Think and Grow Rich and you're like, maybe I should drop out, or are you going to keep going? I'm curious.
I'm actually thinking about dropping out. Like, it's not for me.
The debt to income ratio, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's
not
awesome,
worth it.
man.
I mean, it's worth it if you're going to be like a doctor, lawyer, or something, but yeah, not for business and finance.
I hear people say that. I appreciate you sharing that, man. It's interesting to me because it's only worth it if you're a doctor or a lawyer in like a certain niche, as they say in the coaching world, the riches are in the niches. And I made more money than most doctors and lawyers last year, and I didn't go to school. So you have to really have a certain specific niche. My wife's a nurse, and she hates the fact that she's hundreds of thousands, or a doctor, and she's got her nursing degree, went back for her doctorate, and she's a pulmonary doctor. And it's interesting because she's upset that I make more money than her, and she's got 3 or 4 degrees.
Oh man, did you try college, or did you drop out too?
I tried, actually. I got through 2 semesters, and I had to go through this career. I appreciate you asking that. I had to go through this career development class where we were doing like mock interviews and resume writing, and I realized, what is 2 semesters? Like first year, like freshman year, I'm making more working full-time in the summer for 3 or 4 months than I ever will with the degree in criminal justice, which is what I was going to school for.
Exactly.
And I was making more than probably 2 or 3 of the professors at the time combined, So, yeah. Jamal, my friend, thanks for joining us, sir. How's your day going?
What's going on?
I'm good. Tell us about yourself, my friend. How's your week going?
Good so far, man. I'm just running around like crazy. So.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your hectic schedule and joining us. Sean, or Josh, if you hadn't seen the comments there, Brian said he also dropped out twice and doesn't have a degree. So appreciate you, Brian. Well, man, this thing is recording, so I'm going to dive in here. I want to set an agenda today a little differently than before. I've got some content that I'd like to share with you guys, and it pertains to kind of the art of the sale and framing conversations, more so on the front end and negotiating and cold calling and things like that. And then next week, what I'll do is I will go into negotiating on the back end and what that framework looks like and how those conversations can be had and how they go hand in hand with each other. And then what we'll do, I'll go over 3 or 4 topics or examples, and then I would ask somebody after we go through that to step up and volunteer and be a seller. And I'd like to do a role play with you guys and try to throw me off and throw in some objections and things like that. And I will only speak to what I know, which is Texas real estate law. So don't apply this. This is kind of my disclaimer. Don't apply this to your current state. It may or may not apply, but you can get the overall content and then fact check it for your state. Is that fair, you guys?
Yeah.
Awesome. So a couple of weeks ago, I asked the question, or I posed the question, what is the number one thing in any conversation for it to be productive, and specifically for sales? What is the most important thing that you can do? Sean, you were here. Diggy Dan, you were here. Do you guys remember what the most important thing you can do in having a conversation is?
Connecting with that person.
Connecting with that person? Diggy
Yeah,
Dan?
building rapport.
Building rapport? Jamal, I know you mentioned that you went back and watched. Do you remember?
I failed.
You failed. No, you didn't fail.
I think it's building rapport, right? Asking the right questions, I guess.
Boom. Asking the right questions. And so I don't want to go into that too much, but I want to give you guys 3 or 4 pertinent questions that you can ask every seller, whether it's a self-generated lead, knocking on doors, driving for dollars, or sending out letters, or if you've got other forms of marketing. I want to give you guys 3 or 4 questions that also not only pertain to those forms of marketing, but also pertain to if you're just starting out and maybe just cold calling. And so I want to start with one of the most important questions that, in my opinion, can be asked, and that is, are you interested in selling your house today? And so if you are new to this industry and you're just cold calling, simply cold calling, the first thing out of your mouth is obviously your introduction. And so something along the lines of, hey Josh, this is Bryce. I was calling about 123 Main Street. Are you the homeowner there today?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I'm the homeowner.
Okay, great. So I'm not going to role play right now with you, Josh. I appreciate that. But do you see how that kind of led him into answering that question? Yeah, I'm the homeowner. It doesn't necessarily open the door for skepticism or why are you calling me? It's a yes or no question, right? And so I asked that question when I was cold calling. And then to change that, if I had incoming leads, which is what I have now in my system, it's, hey, Josh, how are you, my friend? This is Bryce. I was just calling about your house. Is it still for sale?
Doing all right. And yes, it's for sale.
Appreciate that. So I initial that conversation with getting to the point with the question. So that way, one of 2 things happens. One, it opens the door for conversation. But number 2, it also eliminates a bunch of time wasted. Hey, how did you get my number? Things like that. It's, no, I'm not selling my house. And then you can go into further, questions or whatever, well, I've seen that it looked like it might need some work. Have you ever considered selling it? Whatever that looks like. But the most important thing you can do in any conversation, whether it's with your girlfriend, your children, your wife, or a seller, is ask pertinent questions. So I preface that with that opening statement because it's one of the first things that I do and that I recommend doing in any sales conversation is getting to the point and asking them if they're interested in your product or your service. 2 reasons. Again, it eliminates time and wasting time if they're not interested. but it also gets right to the point and makes sure that you're speaking to the right person and your objective moving forward. In this case, real estate, buying their house is what they would like to do. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah.
All right. With that said, I've got 4 or 5 questions that I ask every single seller. So once you've gotten past that initial door opening conversation, I'm reaching up because I still, after having almost 10 years of doing this, I still keep my original sheet that I hand wrote my notes when I was building my script. And so the second question that I ask in opening that conversation is this your house, Josh, or is this a friend or relative's house that you're thinking about selling today?
Oh, it's actually my daughter's house that she owns, and I'm looking to sell it.
Okay, great. I appreciate you sharing that with me. So I've asked 2 or 3 questions already here in a matter of 5 minutes. Do you guys hear any similarities of how those questions are being asked or what's being said? Can anybody point that out, or has anybody caught that yet?
Selling the house. Putting the word selling the house in their brain. Interested in selling the house.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say you went straight to the point. If it's the homeowner, I mean, you also try to find out if it's the decision maker when it comes to selling the house, and then you also put out there the fact that you might need some repair work on the house. That way, I mean, whatever price point that the owner has on the house will probably not be the same. You know, something like that.
All right, I appreciate that, Sean and Ebola. Both of those statements. Am I saying you're right, my friend? Your name right, my friend?
Yeah. You are.
Ebola.
Yeah, Bola. Yeah.
Bola. I'll just say Bola for short. Fair enough?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
All right.
I prefer Bola though.
What's that?
I prefer you calling me Bola because most people call me Bola anyway.
Bola. All right. Friends call him Bola. You guys all got that.
Wow.
All right. So Sean and Bola, you're both correct. I'm asking a direct question and I'm prefacing that they're selling the house. So I'm getting that wrapped around there. What you guys are not hearing though, and I want to point this out, is what I call framework. And so that's really what I want to talk to you guys about today. And with framework, you can manipulate this in any form of conversation and use it to your advantage. Now, I caution you, make sure that you're using this stuff for the positive, because it can be very manipulative and can be used for negative as well. So I'm going to repeat the question that I just asked back to Josh, since he was the guinea pig per se. I said, is this your house, Josh, or is this a relative's house that you're selling today?
Well, it's my daughter's house, but I thought, I would sell it for her because she's never sold a house before.
Did you guys hear what I said, though?
He said sell it today.
Boom. Sell it today. So subconsciously, I'm building an urgency factor. This is going to be a decision that these folks are making today. And if you go back and watch any of my videos, you'll notice that every single question, I either use a tie down or I use the word today. And the reason I do that is 2 reasons. I'm building urgency, and I'm going to help them or push them subconsciously into making a decision today. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So the next question that I have, once I've gotten that door open and they've told me, in this case, it's their daughter's house, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's got to be a lot of stress on her. Is that why you're handling this today? So what I did is I added a feeling, whatever that may be, if they're excited, yeah, this is my daughter's first house, so I'm taking over for her, oh, that can be exciting. How does that make you feel? Is that something you really want to handle today? And if they tell you no, wow, how come? Is it because it's stressful? Brian, you must have got a phone call.
I did too.
I'm like, I lost him already.
I'm back.
No worries. So it's really key that you do two things with every question. One, you listen to the answer, and two, add a feeling around their response. I'm going to repeat that again, and you can go back and watch the replay. After every question, you listen to the answer and then reply and add feeling around their response. What happens, you guys, subconsciously, there's something that triggers in the backside of the brain that communicates both right and left brain that says, this guy cares, or this gal cares, this person cares. If there's any females going to watch this, this person cares, and they're serious about what they're doing. So then from there, the next question that I ask is obviously a little more specific in this case. And Josh, you don't have to reply to this, but he stated that it was his daughter's property. Oh man, that sounds stressful. Tell me about that. How long has your daughter lived in this house? The reason I ask that is because I want to know, without them telling me, what the property condition is. And so I know if somebody's lived there for 2 years, they either paid cash for it or they owe more than what I can offer them in a wholesale deal. If they've lived there 10 years or more, they either don't owe anything or they owe very little, unless they've done some sort of creative refinance or something like that, which is far and few between at this point, or the condition. You can figure out the condition of the property if they've been there 10 years or longer. And so I ask, how long have they lived there at this house? Notice one thing, you guys. I never said home. Did any of you catch that or hear that?
So how come you avoid saying the word home?
That's a great question, Josh. So let me answer that. I don't say home because subconsciously they will attach themselves to it.
For me, I always say property.
Property? Yeah, you can say property. I personally like the word house, but as long as you don't say home, you're not going to create those emotions. Because what happens, Josh, when you've been out with your buddies and you've been karaokeing or having a couple of drinks, if that's your thing, if not, you went out and had dinner. When you say I'm going back home, or do you say I'm going back to the house? What do you say?
I'm going back home.
I'm going back home. I'm going back to my comfort zone, right? I'm going to go relax. Subconsciously, the word home in our mind says that this is a safe haven and we're here to protect that. So listen to the way it sounds differently. If I were to say, how long have you lived in your home? Versus, man, tell me about that. How long have you lived in that house? Do you feel the difference in how that sounds if that was applied to you?
Yep.
It's very, very minute, but that framework will change the concept and change the psyche behind it. Brian, you're negotiating a business deal. You know, it could go one of two ways. You could say, how long have you owned this establishment? Or how long have you had this business? Or you could say, how long have you been an entrepreneur? How long have you been running this show over there?
Correct.
You see what I did there?
Very much.
It's the same thing. And you can do that in any conversation. You're talking to a girl at the bar and you want to take her home. Hey, are you looking to go home tonight? Or, hey, let's go back to the house. Which one sounds safer? I'm not nearly as good looking as half of you guys, but I guarantee you I've taken more home than I have been back to the house.
Yeah.
All right. The next question is very important. So now you've got their emotional status, you've got their property condition status kind of assumed in the back of your head, the next question that I lead into the opening of the floodgates of conversation and information is simply this. You know, Josh, tell me a little bit more about the property, or tell me a little bit more about the house. Why are you guys selling it today?
Well, years ago, we bought it as is, and like we never had the time to fix it up or the money. And so like the floors need to be replaced, everything needs to be repainted. And I'm not really sure about the rest of the stuff, but like maybe you can inspect it.
Okay, well, I appreciate you sharing that with me. Tell me a little bit more about that. What have you done recently to make this thing better?
Well, we did get the roof replaced, but other than that, that's about it.
You see what happened there, guys? He just went, bleh. And then because he's talking, I got quiet, he got uncomfortable, and I said, tell me a little bit more. What have you done to the place? And he told me he did the roof. The next question behind his statement is going to be about what he was talking about. When he starts giving you information, what I recommend is saying, oh, wow, how long has it been since you replaced the roof? And he's going to tell me, you know, it's been 5 years. Oh, okay. You're in North Carolina. You guys get some pretty hefty storms. Is it holding up? You know,
The
something
storms aren't
along
that
those.
bad.
What's that?
Oh, the storms aren't that bad here in North Carolina.
I know. I was thinking Texas, but
Oh, okay.
work with me. Either way, I can plant that seed of doubt that it's 5 years and it's not 5 months. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So can I quickly ask something?
Please.
I think the question I have is, you get better at doing this stuff, and then no two conversation can ever be the same. Am I right to say that?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Every
Okay.
conversation is going to be different based upon the property conditions
Okay.
and the property or family situation.
Okay.
The thing that you need to realize, though, Bola, is that outside of conditions and situation, my conversation is the exact same every single time. I might say 5,000 times this year, but every time that I say it, the homeowner is hearing it for the very first time.
Okay.
And this is probably one of, if I had to say anything when it came to sales and marketing training that was important, it's stick to the script. Whatever script you have, stick to it, because no matter how bad it may sound to you, somebody that gave that to you has had a proven success with it.
Do that. Okay.
And it's going to be the first time that that person on the other side of the conversation has ever heard it.
Yeah. Yep.
What I want to point out here, guys, with that first half of those questions is this. If you don't know where your client is subconsciously, you cannot consciously lead them. Let me repeat that. If you don't know where your client is subconsciously, you cannot consciously lead them. And so how do you do that? What does that look like? Well, it's by asking the right questions, right? And so a lot of times the toughest conversations are the ones where the seller thinks that they know more than what you do, or you're dealing with the realtor. A lot of you guys that are new will start out by initiating conversations with realtors because they will talk for days, right? And so what I like to do in those conversations is frame it with a very simple phrase that sets the expectations. And what that looks like is simply this. I wonder if you realize, ... whatever that fact is that counters what they're saying. What happens is you set the expectation that you are in charge of this conversation. It sets the expectation that you probably know more than that they're assuming. And then you can reframe that back into where you left off. So if I'm talking, Josh, I'm going to use you again since you volunteered. We started talking about, is this your house? or relatives, I want you to give me an objection to that. Try to make it difficult. Hey, Josh, I appreciate you sharing. Tell me, is this your house or a relative's house that you're looking to sell today?
Why do you need to know that?
You know, that's a great question. I wonder if you realize in the state of Texas, I can really only speak to the homeowner. Is that you?
Oh, yeah, that would be me.
See what I did there, you guys? You can set the expectation that you're in charge. You can use a fact or a statistic. You know, a lot of times people will tell you, well, when you start to make offers, and we'll talk about this more next week, but people will tell you, well, I want to get $200,000 for my house. Really? Tell me, help me understand. Where did you get that number? Get quiet. They're going to tell you they looked on realtor.com or they have a realtor friend. Oh, wow. I'm just curious. I wonder if you realize, are you aware of how Zillow.com computes their data? It's a yes or no question. They're going to tell you, yes, they do. You're going to say, okay, great. So you know it's just an average of the last home sold in the last 12 months within 5 miles. It's not a really fair depiction of what your house is selling for today, right? Or they're going to tell you that they've got a realtor friend in the business. Oh, wow. I mean, help me understand. I mean, I wonder if you realize that your realtor's just too busy and that's why you haven't worked with them. Or I wonder if you realize that your house is probably not everything that they would normally list. Is that why you're selling your house today? Create some doubt, create some fear, and then get right back into your script.
You know what I noticed? Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, please.
I noticed, and I don't use this a lot, but I keep forgetting, but I just wrote it down. When you're speaking to them and you end it with a right, so they affirm what you're saying from what they're saying.
Say that again. Brian, I got your message, brother. If you need to take off, this is recorded. I appreciate you joining me, man. Sean, go ahead.
Like when you were saying, let me understand or help me understand, when you were kind of going against what they were saying. I wonder if you realized, and you were telling them about Zillow, exactly what it meant. You ended it with saying, right? So your contradiction to them, you kind of get them to affirm by saying right at the end for them to answer, yeah, like kind of like confirm what you're saying, basically going off what they're saying. I never use that, and I always hear people doing that, and it's one of those tools I don't use, and I need to use that.
Yeah, and and I appreciate you pointing that out, Sean. There's a little bit of framework behind that, but that's actually called, and just like using the word today, it's actually called NLP. Is there anybody on this call that has not heard of NLP? Josh?
I haven't.
Okay, Sean. Okay, so half of you guys. So NLP stands for neuro-linguistic programming. Neuro-linguistic programming. And so conversations, and it can be very simple. You guys have seen text messages that say, you know, in lowercase it says, hey bro, that last call was amazing, in bold, right? That's NLP. So when you text, you can actually highlight. So for example, when I write something, you know, I put this week we will discuss, and then capitals, I put framing conversations or framework in conversations. What stands out? Framework in conversations, right? It's the same thing when you're speaking to somebody. Notice what I just did there. It's the same thing when you're speaking to somebody. You enunciate, you put different tonalities and pitches on words, but you also louden that particular word. So for example, one of the other tie downs, and people call it different, sales people call it different things, but the scientific, which intrigues me because I love the psychology behind sales, but a lot of guys will call them tie downs. A lot of guys will call them ladders. and how many yeses you can get to the end result, so that when they say no, they feel bad and it's easier to get them to convert back to a yes. But it's things like, why are you looking to sell your house today? You didn't know this, but did this, and this happen, right? You know, this, and this has happened over the years in your market, right? Those types of neuro-linguistic programmings trigger something in the back of the mind that says, yeah, okay, that's right. Or, yeah, I'm going to do this today. So that's actually called NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And if there's anybody in the business that is certified to teach neuro-linguistic programming, if you guys ever need a coach and haven't hired me yet, call Jim Fortin. And he has a page that's called the High Performance Sales Executive or something like that. I can look it up real quick if you want me to. Yeah, the High Performance Sales Professional. He's got a group. His name is Jim Fortin. This guy was one of my personal mentors for about 2 years, or about 2 years ago. He was also one of the speaking coaches to Bill Clinton, one of the best speakers in American history, presidents. He was a personal development coach and speaking coach to the Dalai Lama. The guy is an amazing neuro-linguistic programming speaker.
What was his name again?
His name is Jim Fortin.
Fortin.
I will post a link here in the comments. That in the comments section is a link to his group, the High Performance Sales Professional, and he does a little bit of everything. It's not geared specifically toward real estate, but he has had several high-level executives in real estate, like our brokerage. Cynthia Day is one of the top producing brokers in the country. She used to work for us before she branched off into her own thing. And when she was working with us, I mean, she was our go-to that would negotiate with Mark Cuban, one of our good friends, Glenn and Tanya Beck, the Jonas Brothers and their agent, just to name a few people. Very high-level retail sales professional. And he was one of our coaches that she recommended. And when it comes to speaking, he's an amazing artist with words. And it's interesting that you guys bring this up and ask these questions, because I'm actually using his material that has helped shape my stuff, or my tools in the shed, and sharpen them. And so, Jim, I love that guy. He's an amazing sales professional and an amazing speaker. So study his stuff if you need any more help with that. But that is what NLP is, neuro-linguistic programming, or for short, neuro-persuasion, as he calls it. Any questions about that topic while we're on it?
I just know I need to use it.
Right?
Yeah, I should have done that. See, it's right there. I could have said it.
There you go.
Shoot, I know I need to use it, right? Correct?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And we're all nodding our head yes with Sean on this. So the next thing that I want to talk about is, how do you eliminate objections by using neuropersuasion or framework? And so you can ask different questions, but the top three that I really like to use are simply this. The first one is, and I'll type it in the notes here, the fact that blank means blank. The fact that blank means blank. So Josh in this example stated that he was selling the house for his daughter. So what I would say to eliminate objections in that case, I would say, Man, Josh, the fact that you're stepping in and handling this for your daughter tells me and means 2 or 3 things. Number one, you're an amazing father. It also sounds like this is probably pretty stressful for her, right?
Right.
You see what I did there? So I threw it back on him. The first blank is going to be what their statement is. And the second blank is going to be the language and feeling with a added value solution out of context solution. So what I mean by that and how you eliminate objections is later on when Josh tells me, well, I need to think about it, I can say, man, Josh, you told me that you were handling this for your daughter, and I understand that you probably want to discuss it with her, but the fact that you're handling it means that it was too stressful for her in the first place. Why wouldn't you just want to get this checked off your list? You see how I said it 2 different ways? That is how you can eliminate objections before they happen. Bola, I got your question here.
Okay.
I will post my calendar here again. For those of you guys that don't have that link already, Josh, you weren't here previously, so I appreciate you being a part of this group. Bola asked me to share my calendar because he misplaced it or couldn't find it in the previous note. And so there is actually, oh.
To everybody.
Bola, that's not right, my friend.
What's not right?
What I just sent you.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I'll disregard it then.
All right. So I just sent it to everybody. If you want to jump on a private phone call, I do free 15-minute Q&As. I wish that I could do more, but I just don't have the time outside of my paid time and speaking time. So 15, 20 minutes. I don't charge for that. Just to jump on a call, you can jump on a call with me. But with that said, that what I like to call a ninja pattern, by utilizing the same statement 2 different ways, number one, you can eliminate the objection, and then when the objection or if the objection comes up, you can reflect back to it with your previous ninja statement. I call them ninja statements. And so the ninja statement states that the fact that blank, whatever their situation is, means that blank, whatever could be an objection or something to overcome later. So the fact that in this case they're stressed, they don't have a lot of time, he's stepping in and taking over for his daughter because she's stressed, I would play to that heartstring all day long. Your daughter's stressed out. You don't want her to have to deal with this any longer than she has to, right? Let's go ahead and get this thing checked off your list. And I'll go into more detail on what that looks like on the back end of that conversation. But on the front side of that conversation, in the initial conversation, you can state the fact, Josh, the fact that you're taking over this for your daughter means a couple of things. One, you're an amazing father. And number 2, she's probably really stressed out about this whole ordeal, right? The next one is what I call the moral authority ninja statement. All right, Bola, I appreciate you joining us, my friend. Catch back up on the replay, brother.
All righty. Thank you. Bye.
The next statement is what I call the moral authority ninja statement. And what that is, or what that does, is it gives 2 different ideas all at the same time, but only one of them is correct. And so there's what the statement says is simply this: there is a right way and a wrong way to sell your house. And so what that looks like is there is a right way and a wrong way to blank. And then you can manipulate that to whichever situation you're in. There's a right way and a wrong way to blank. So if you're negotiating a deal on a car, you know, and your guy keeps going back and forth, you can make him feel like you have the moral authority and you're in control. You know, let's say, Sean, you're trying to sell me a car. Hey, Sean, there's a right way and a wrong way to sell this car today. This is what I'd like to do. And then I'd state, you know, my terms. What's going to happen if I said that to you, Sean? Let's say you're selling your older car out in the driveway right now, and I said that to you sitting on your driveway. How does that make you feel when I say that? Sean, there's a right way and a wrong way to sell this car to me today, and this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to give you $500 now because I've got to run to the bank and get the other, and I'll be right back, and I'll give you $1,000 altogether. Fair enough?
And if in my mind the price was higher?
Whatever, you can do whatever. I mean, if you're trying to sell it for $2,000 or $1,500 or
yeah, well, I was looking for $2,000
sure.
with cash.
Okay.
Not $1,000.
And so then I revert back to the first one, that is a training tool, the training ninja objection. You know, the fact that you want $2,000, Sean, tells me that either you've done some research or you feel that $2,000 is a fair price. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there's a right way and a wrong way to sell this car. I've got cash today and I need a car, but I've got to have some way to go pick up my son. I'll give you $500 right now, and I'll be back with another $1,000 in 20 minutes. Can we make this happen today?
I'm not comfortable giving up that extra money. But I see what you're saying, though. In my mind, when you asked me that question, my first thought was, am I selling this at the right price? Like the right way and wrong way. You're basically saying, like, if I was trying to get more than I actually thought it was worth, now I'm thinking maybe I should just come back a little bit.
So you caught it. Jamal, go ahead. You got something, bud?
Yeah, I think you're trying to say is you're trying to put some doubt on their head. Say, hey, maybe I should sell to this guy. And you put a doubt to him. Say, hey, maybe I should just do it. Maybe if I don't get it now, I might not get what I'm asking for anyways.
That's perfect. That's actually exactly what it does. It creates doubt. Sean, you said that in a different way, but it creates doubt. When you're selling a house and you can create the slightest bit of doubt, guess what? As the buyer, you have the solution, right? So here's what that sounds like when I use that in conversations with people that are being kind of butt heads to me. You know, Sean, there's a right way and a wrong way to sell your house. I personally wouldn't take a third-party opinion like Zillow. And what most of my clients appreciate about what I do is I have a ton of experience. Heck, most guys only buy 4 or 5 houses a year. I bought 4 or 5 yesterday. See how that created doubt? And you're like, oh, he kind of knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I call that the moral authority. It creates doubt, and then it makes you have the authority to be able to provide the solution.
Mm-hmm. The right way and the wrong way.
Any questions about that?
The wrong way. So when you respond, after you set the initial the right way and wrong way, you're basically throwing a negative towards what they have in their mind, and then you're going to your authority in
Correct.
whatever situation it is.
That is correct. That is correct. And I saved the best for last, and this is probably, in my opinion, the one that I use the most. Anybody watching my videos could probably pick it out. Anybody have an idea of what I'm going to go to next?
Nope, I don't.
I think saying that you always say, I don't need your business, I want your business.
Yeah, I do say that. I found myself being repetitive, and I'm trying not to say that because it sounds to people listening, not necessarily the seller, but I've heard from other input that it sounds like I'm an ego-driven a-hole. I'm trying not to say that as frequently. Any other guesses? It does work. Dig it in. It does work. You're right.
The appraisal thing, that you would do the appraisal inspection first. Put my mouth where my money where my mouth is.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So here's what it is.
Dollars make sense.
What's that?
Let's make dollars make sense, or something like that. You say something.
Let's make dollars make sense.
Is that what you say,
That's
Bryce?
a catchy little phrase.
It is.
So what I say that is imperative in every single conversation is simply this. I'm typing it out. I can't type and think at the same time. It says, you know, Josh, I'm picky about who I work with. Can you tell me more about yourself and what you're looking for from the buyer of your house, so I'll know if we're a good fit or not?
I'm just looking for someone who can pay all cash, but like someone who understands the situation. Cause like we're just trying to get out of the situation as fast as possible.
Now, without giving me dialogue back, Josh, I want you to listen to what I said. Josh, I'm picky about who I work with. Can you tell me more about yourself and what you're looking for from the buyer of your house, so I'll know if we're a good fit or not?
So you're framing that, right? To man, I don't know.
Well, you're okay. It is framework.
Mm-hmm.
Jamal, what do you think, my friend?
I think you're doing a little bit takeaway, a pushback from saying it's okay to say no. I don't buy every house type of framework.
It can be called the takeaway, sure.
I'm thinking that you basically telling them like what you basically ask them what would like the outcome to be, so you can say that you basically telling them to give you their problem, so you already basically it's a leeway to give them a solution. You basically ask them what.
You guys are all right. The reason I say that is because it is the walkaway. It is the takeaway. It is the I don't need your business, but I want it conversation. But it makes them qualify themselves to you. You heard Josh naturally role play, tell me, you know, I want somebody that's an all cash buyer. Boom, I'm going to check that. I've got that. I'm an all cash buyer. I want somebody that knows and understands the situation. Boom, I'm going to check that. I know what he needs to hear to make this deal happen. So when I follow up on the call after my inspection, or I'm on the inspection appointment and I'm actually having that conversation with that seller, you know, hey, Josh, you told me that you wanted an all cash buyer. I'm not sure what's holding you back today, but you also told me you wanted somebody to understand your situation. And I know that because you stepped in to handle this for your daughter, it's going to eliminate a lot of stress off of her plate. But by going with me today, I've got cash, which is exactly what you were looking for. And more importantly, what most of my clients like. So again, you don't have to just take my word for it. That's NLP, by the way. They just took my word for it. I know your situation. And because of the experience I have, I've done this situation 1,000 times. Probably the only type of company you want to work with today, right?
Right.
Okay, great. Sign here, push hard, 3 copies.
So you use the same thing when you're meeting the clients in person as well, right?
I haven't walked a property or met a person in person in over 3 years.
Oh, wow.
But it can be worked in the same manner. Yes, it can be worked in the same manner.
So Bryce, I'm actually working a deal right now, and like the owner, like he keeps hanging up on me. Like, so like, you know, I'm trying to come up with solution for him. Like I can come in with cash, right? But the problem is that he wants 14 grand for the property, right? The lowest I can go for my cash buyer is 11 grand.
So he's arm wrestling you over 3 grand?
Yeah, and if I go any lower, he's just gonna hang up, you know?
I mean,
It's not motivated.
But I do see now, like, have I framed it a lot better? Like the first call, you know, I feel like, you know, I could have got it, but
have you asked him why that 3 grand is a make or break deal?
I haven't.
I would ask him that. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's what this last 10 minutes of Q&A really is. So, you know, in that situation, Josh, I would, you know, call him back. If he's not answering and he's hanging up, maybe call him from a different number or have somebody else call him.
Yeah.
You know, hell, I'm half tempted to call him with you guys on the phone right now. You want me to do that?
Let's do it. I'll give you the number.
Let's do it. I love getting put on the spot. That's when I work best. Give me the address first so I can pull it up.
All right. Yeah. Got you.
You guys are killing me.
Oh, man.
What motivation?
So the
Go ahead,
address, what's that? Okay. The address is 6486 Portsmouth, Portsmouth Drive, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28314.
6468 Portsmouth Drive, Fayetteville.
6486.
6486. Got it.
Okay.
32, about 1,000 square foot.
Yep, that's it.
Damn, I'm good. No.
And then the owner's name is Samuel Chance. I just call him Mr. Chance.
Don't call him Mr. Nothing. That's your culture. Call him by his first name, first and foremost.
Samuel. All right. So
And I'm even gonna make it shorter. I'm gonna say Sam.
Ready for
I
the
can
number?
only say that to you, Josh, because my wife is Chinese and Vietnamese. So.
Oh, really?
That
Awesome.
So Sam Chan is his name. What's his
Samuel
phone number?
Chance.
What's that?
Oh, Samuel Chance.
Chance.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, so he's white.
He's African American.
Oh.
He's an older guy.
You see that, Diggy Dan? Shame on me, bro. I'm sitting here profiling, bro.
You got it all twisted, man.
I know, man. I'm sorry, Jamal. Man. Freaking love you guys. So his name is Sam. He's got a place on Portsmouth.
Why is he selling?
That was going to be my next question.
Well, this was a drive for a dollar property that I went through, but he's an experienced person. Like he owned several houses before.
Vacant?
Yeah, it's vacant right now.
Cool.
Okay.
Tell me the address again.
It is.
46.
I'll type in the chat.
Hold on, I got it.
Oh, you found it?
I don't know why my computer froze on me. 6487.
6486.
6486.
Let's make a deal on the phone.
Right, bro. What do I get? No, I'm just kidding.
What area are you in, Joshua?
Fayetteville, North Carolina.
That's a pretty cheap price for a 1,000 square foot house.
Yeah. Ohio has a lot of cheap properties as well.
Yeah.
He wants 14,000 for the house.
Yeah, he wants 14,000 for the house, but the ARV is around 35 grand.
Right. The numbers are weird.
It needs about like at least 15 grand in repairs. Like 15 to 18 is what we're going for in terms of repairs.
So you need to be at 11. He wants 14, right?
Yep.
Are you buying this yourself and doing it?
No, I'm selling it to a cash buyer.
Are you making anything on it?
So everything under 12 grand is my profit.
Okay. So you make 2 on it?
One.
At one.
Okay.
Because I don't want to push it on his side either, you know?
Right. Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, I'll call him just to see if we could do something. In my opinion, Josh, I probably wouldn't waste much more time on it.
Yeah.
You know? That's just my opinion, though. What's his phone number, brother?
910-273-3482.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
910-273-3482.
Yep.
What's major wrong with it? Everything?
Yep. The windows are boarded up and everything.
And for you guys that are still on here, Sean, Jamal, and Diggy Dan, if you got a deal next week, I will do the same for you.
That's a tough market for a $34,000 house.
Can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello, is this Sam?
Hello? Who?
I'm looking for Sam, Mr. Chance.
Yeah, it's me.
Sam, this is Bryce. I'm Joshua Chan's business partner. Do you got a second?
Yeah.
All right, I appreciate that. How's your day going?
All right.
Staying busy, I hope?
Yeah, what you like to talk about?
Well, I appreciate your urgency, my friend. I was trying to get a little more information on this house that you're looking to sell on Portsmouth. I'm curious, why are you thinking about selling it now?
Yeah, I mean, we call time for me, and I'm tired of messing with you, so I'm just trying to get ready. I'm tired of being bothered with you.
How tired are you? I mean, are you super tired where you want to make something happen today, or you're just thinking about it?
Hey, look, let me tell you something.
Please.
Send the house 15,000. If you're interested in it like it is, all right, fine. Other than that, then we ain't got nothing else to talk about.
Well, I mean, I can appreciate that. I'm curious where you get that number. Yeah, bro, he's not serious. Get rid of him.
All right.
He's not motivated to sell it, man.
It's a waste of time, brother. I wouldn't even spend any more time on it.
All right.
If he was serious, he would keep talking, but he's not.
Yeah.
So,
Joshua, how many leads do you get?
Well, I mean, I use Revo Gateway. I have 20,000 plus leads.
I mean, like, how many like calls do you got coming in, or?
Probably about one a day from bandit signs.
All right, so your lead flow is really not that strong, where you kind of try to hang on to certain deals.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself doing that too. Like whenever I got a deal, it's like I gotta make this work, and sometimes you just gotta be like, "This ain't the deal today. See you later." And sometimes they call you back because they realize they can't sell it, and
Right.
they'll call you back. But that was a hard thing for me to overcome. Was when I had a deal and I thought I had a deal, I kind of would, give in a little bit here and there, or be on a deal too long.
Okay.
Yeah, and Sean, I appreciate you stepping up. That's what this group's about, Sean or Josh. Since you're new, these guys, these three guys right here, and a couple of the other guys that are in here contribute all the time and participate all the time. The more active you are, the more sharpened you'll get. And so be open to that constructive criticism. And Sean, I appreciate you stepping up again, my man, because that's the kind of stuff that we all need to hear. Sometimes we just need to hear it from somebody else rather than ourselves. And I completely agree with Sean on that. And his words attest to what I said. And on the other hand, if I were you, I'd send him a text and say, "Hey, Sam, you hung up on my business partner. When you get serious in bold letters, call me back. My offer's 11 grand. Otherwise, lose my number." That way you're in control and you don't have to talk to him.
Right.
He won't ever call you back. But 3 years from now, when he owes 9 grand in back taxes because he's let it sit there and not do anything with it,
now you offer less.
He's a miserable.
You offer less. I like that, Sean.
No, so you do. When they come back, you offer less. Say, "Look, it's been a lot of time, a lot more things have gone by. I can only offer you 9 grand."
Yeah, exactly. You wasted my time. You hung up on my business partner, and he was ready to make a deal that day, and you didn't give him a chance. So when you get serious, give us a call back. And I would just leave it. I'd kick it out of your system and never bother him again.
Yeah, Sean is completely right, because a lot of time, because we don't have enough lead, we're trying to hang on to the lead that we have and to work it where it's not going anywhere.
Well, here, Jamal, you're cutting out on me, my friend. I appreciate you saying that, though. Here's what I would say to you guys, especially, Josh, Jamal, Diggy Dan, you guys that are just starting up and have only got 1 or 2 deals or none under your belt. Make sure that you value your time. And I would also, if you're not already doing it, get some sort of morning affirmations and pre-call affirmations. Meaning you wake up in the morning and get in the right mindset, and then you get on the phone call with the right mindset. Because if you are telling yourself every day that you're the best problem solver in real estate and you are the best solution to these people's problem, when you have somebody like that, you can't solve their problem, and you'll just subconsciously move on. And it won't even be second nature. You'll just move on. And, these guys, Josh, have heard me, and I've showed them at the beginning of the year when this group first started, my stats. So I have, you don't have to just take my word for it. But the average wholesale deal in America is between $4,000 and $5,000.
Right.
My average wholesale deal last year was 17.6. And I did 239 of them personally, not including the rest of my team. And so it just boils down to having the right conversations. And that's why I want to add value to this group by giving these secret tips and tricks that I've learned over the years, like framework and like NLP, and how they sound when applied to the conversations. So we went over by about 5 minutes, but I still want to do a role play from beginning to end. It's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes. Sean, you've been in the business a little longer than these guys here. Why don't you and I do the role play? Because you know of some sticky situations. Don't give me something that can't be overcome, like baby's mama's house that I'm never going to be able to get to. That's all I have. Make it a realistic situation. Is that fair?
All right, I'll try. I try to do my best.
Josh, Jamal, Diggy Dan, I want you guys to take notes. What I am going to do is I'm going to cut my screen off. It's still recording, but I get in the best mood and mode when I'm not staring at everybody's faces. So you can still hear me. Everybody can still hear me.
Yep.
All right. Sean, you're my seller, my friend. Let's do this. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, is this Sean?
Yes, sir. This is. Who's speaking?
Yeah, Sean, this is Bryce. I was just following up with you. I had a missed call. I sent you a postcard. I buy houses. Do you have a minute?
Sure.
All right, fantastic. Tell me what's going on over there. You got a house for sale or a property?
Well, I don't, but my aunt has one.
Your aunt has a house?
My aunt has a house, yes.
All right. And I assume since your aunt has chosen you to work on her behalf, she's probably a little stressed or overwhelmed. Is that fair to say?
Well, she's incapacitated. She really can't make decisions. I'm her decision maker.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear that. That's got to be a lot of weight on your shoulders, huh?
It sure is. A lot of my time taken up in that.
Sure. Well, I want to appreciate you taking my call, and I don't want to waste our time here. So let's dive in. I do have a couple questions about the situation. Help me understand a little bit as to your role. Are you an executor in an estate, or do you have power of attorney? What does that look like?
Yeah, I'm an executor of her estate. She does have another heir, so I'm not getting anything out of the profit. I have to give the money to the other person. So I'm just trying to get this out of my hair, trying to sell this property and to do right for the family and give them enough money where they can do what they have to do.
Sure.
They have all her bills that have fallen behind.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that with me. No, that makes perfect sense. I mean, you're looking out for the best interest of the family. I'd imagine they picked you because you're probably one of the smartest ones in the bunch, huh?
You would think so. She
We
was the
hope so.
smartest.
Well, smart guys make smart decisions. So let's get you some information so you can make an informed decision. Is that fair?
Sure.
Tell me about this property. You said there's one other heir plus your aunt. How many bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, stuff like that does this house have?
It's a 3-2. It's about 1,500, but there was an add-on to it. It could be a little bit bigger.
All right. 3-2 at 1,500. That sounds like a garage conversion. Is it converted? Is that why there's the add-on, or what does that look like?
I think it was the back patio. They haven't closed it, made it a room.
Okay. Patio add-on. So is there a garage on the house?
Yes, there is. One-car garage.
One car garage. All right. And tell me, it might be a little more important if I had the address. Tell me, what's the address of the house you're looking to sell today?
123 Main Street.
123 Main Street. Oh, I know where that's at. That's right there around the corner from that ice cream shop that Brian had.
I don't know the area too well.
Okay. Are you not from around here?
Nope, I'm out of state.
Oh, wow. Where are you at?
I'm in Alaska.
You're in Alaska. Holy cow. Are the mists correct? Is it always cold there?
Nope. You got a brief summertime.
Oh, wow. I've always wanted to go to Alaska. I might have a good reason to now. Is that fair to say?
I guess. If you like fishing.
Well, I won't waste your time. I know your time was valuable. I won't waste your time in booking flights around here. The good thing is that we don't necessarily have to meet to at least get most of this stuff taken care of. So tell me a little bit about the place. When was the last time you seen it, since you're in Alaska and all?
I've only seen pictures of it. I've never been there personally.
All right. Do you know how long your aunt lived there?
She's lived there 40 years.
40 years. Fair to say by looking at the pictures that it's probably lived in a little?
Yeah, halfway through it was updated, but it's still an old update.
Okay. It's about 20 years ago. What all did they do 20 years ago?
The bathroom flooring, the kitchen flooring. They put a new roof on it, and they put a new AC. But as they're pretty old now.
Sure. Kind of counterproductive to talk about that stuff. So it sounds like it just needs a complete gut and facelift. Is that fair to assume?
I would say a facelift.
Okay. Not a total rehab then, just a facelift?
Yeah, just update
Oh.
certain areas of the house, new paint and all that. So
Sounds like you've done this kind of work before. What kind of work do you do up there?
I've done a couple of rehabs back in my day.
Okay. Well, tell me, by looking at pictures and talking with family, is there anything wrong with the major stuff like the foundation, electrical, plumbing, anything like that?
The electrical's old. It's an older house. So the electrical might have to be looked at. And the foundation is pretty good, but the new patio, it might be, I see a little bit of, where I was told there's a little bit of unevenness.
Okay. So some electrical work, some foundation work. Have y'all got any bids or anything like that on that stuff yet?
Someone offered us, they offered us a good chunk of money.
So you've already taken some offers then. What did that look like?
A couple guys came to look at the property, but we wanted a little bit more money. They wanted to hold on to the property a little bit longer and do an appraisal and closing somewhere like 30 to 40 days out. And I think they're just trying to find a seller or something. I know how that goes.
Yeah, them wholesaler guys, they can be a pain in the neck or they can be your best friend. Just depends on which one you work with, right?
Exactly.
I'm curious, what'd they offer you since it wasn't what you were expecting to get?
Well, they wanted to give me 50% of what we were looking for.
All right. And if I gave you cash today, what do you need to get today, Sean, to make this deal worth your time?
We're looking for 100 grand, but we won't go less than 90.
All right. So where were they coming in? Like 50?
Yeah, they were coming in like 50.
Holy cow.
But I've seen the houses worth like 220.
Okay. And that's kind of what I thought. I wrote down 200, so I don't think we're too far off. I'm curious, where do you get your number?
We have a realtor friend. An old friend used to do comps for me, so I kind of know the comps of the area.
Okay.
As
Good.
is.
I mean, heck, Sean, the fact that you shared that with me, you've got a realtor friend and you've ran some numbers yourself tells me that you know exactly what you want and you know how to get it. Not only that, probably sounds like you've done a little bit more homework than the average seller. Is that fair to assume?
That's true.
Good. Well, man, I appreciate you taking my call today. Do you mind if I share with you a little bit about who I am and what I do? And that way we can both decide if we're a good fit for each other.
That sounds good.
I'm going to stop right there, guys. I switched it up because I didn't say that earlier, and I didn't have to because he was divulging a whole bunch of information and just flowing with me. So it's most of the time I ask that, but I didn't have to because he's done this before. He's giving me a bunch of information. I just want to point that out. So Sean, I appreciate you, telling me all that. It sounds like you've done this a few times before. That's why your family has entrusted you to make a smart decision. You've allowed me to talk about myself now. And so I don't want to take up the rest of this phone call with me, but what most of my clients like about our company and myself is we've been at this now almost 15 years, and where most investors buy 1 or 2 properties a year, some of the bigger guys like WeBuyUglyHomes.com, you've heard of them. I mean, they buy 30 or 40 properties a month all over the country. My small company based right here in Arlington 15 years ago now in North Dallas, we average about 55 to 60 closings a month. I mean, that's probably the only type of company you want to work with today, right?
Yeah, I'm looking to close this fast. The faster, the better. And we can move. That's what I'm looking, and someone that's really going to come through and not give me a price and then come back later and say, oh, we need to go shorter. I don't need to waste time. I'm tired of dealing with guys like this. Sure.
And I can definitely appreciate that. So that's where I come in. Most of my clients appreciate a couple of things about us. Number one, our experience. It kind of speaks for itself. Number two, the fact that we have the volume that we have, Sean, I typically pay about 25 to 30% more than anybody in the business. But in my opinion, the most important thing that they might even overlook and you might be familiar with is the fact that I'll put my money where my mouth is. And here's where I'm different. Most of my clients appreciate that if you and I can agree on a price today, I'll go ahead and step up, put some skin in the game, and I'll have an inspector come out from a third-party company. So I paid for that before we've signed anything. And if my numbers come back at or above what your expectations are, I'll tell you. If they come at or below, I'll tell you that too before we ever sign anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, great. So let's talk about the numbers. You had an offer of $50,000. I think you made a smart decision by not taking that. You said that you wanted about 90 to 100, and if I could give you that and close quick, you'd work with me sooner than later. Fair enough?
That's fair.
All right. I've got some good news and I've got some better news. I can do 90,000. I think with a complete gut and rehab, you're looking at about $30,000 to $40,000, depending on the neighborhood. And I think once it's all fixed up, it'll be worth about $200,000. Now, if you run the numbers backwards and you hire a realtor at $200,000 and pay commissions and pay inspections and you pay survey and yada, 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 closing costs, plus the cost of the rehab, you look at your bottom line, you're looking at maybe walking away in 6 to 9 months with 105 to 110 in your pocket. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
All right. But time is of the essence. You want to be done with this thing, right?
I want to be done with it.
Here's where I come in. I can get my guy out there here in the next 24 to 48 hours if that's feasible for you. And if I was to make you a cash offer today, I'm probably going to be right there around 100 to 105,000. Fair enough?
That sounds great.
All right, brother. Let's get that set up then. I'll put my money where my mouth is. I can have someone out tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. or would the afternoon work better for you?
Afternoon will be better. I'll be out there to be with them.
Boom. I'd set the appointment. Here's the thing, guys. I ran the numbers. He said 200 and he wanted 90. That rehab is going to be roughly about 30 to 35,000. For me, it's going to cost me a lot less because I have my own crews and everything. And Sean, you can agree to that. It'd probably be 15 to 20 on a low end make ready and lipstick type of rehab. So if I were any other wholesaler out there, I'm probably going to be offering 110 to 115. Somebody came in and lowballed him at 50, so he's already expecting to get a lot less than that. Based on those numbers, I can give him about 120 with my volume and still make about 15 to 20. But he said 90 to 100. If I can give him 105, now I'm the winner. That's why I did that. And so I know that if I give him 105, I can wholesale this thing for about 130. I'm going to make 25 to 30 grand on that assignment.
I didn't give you too many objections there. I kind of just floated along with you.
Yeah.
And you did that. You tried at the beginning, but I want you guys to go back and listen to the conversation because there was framework throughout the entire conversation and I maintain control. I don't get very many objections when I have a truly motivated seller.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll get objections, but I assure you, they don't come on the front end. The most objections that I have come on the back end, and you guys go back to the week before last, 3 phone calls on the back end and 3 contracts closed because I can use what they're saying against them.
All right. Can I ask you a question? When you do all these deals and you do them quick like that and you lock them up, are you putting option periods on this, or are you're probably just well set where you already know you got buyers for certain kinds of properties?
That's a great question. I have an option period. I was going to grab my contract, but I don't have any hard copies right now. My contract states the termination period. If you read Texas state Texas real estate law, without representation by lawyer or realtor, in layman's terms, basically states that you can back out all the way up until closing. And so I state that in my contract. And I use the fact that I do a inspection as leverage that we won't necessarily have to do that again. And so my termination period, here, let me just pull it up for you guys. My termination period states specifically, the buyer shall have any and all days after the execution date of this contract defined herein the termination period up until on or before said agreed upon date of closing, within which to conduct due diligence inspection of the property, which may include but shall not be limited to yada 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 yada, to terminate in any said capacity the extension of this contract, in which case this contract shall terminate automatically and unconditionally, and the title company is directed to refund the earnest money immediately to the buyer without further documentation or instruction. So it's all in the language and how you present it. I don't know
So
how
you don't even click an option period. You just state that in the box where you print all that out, and that's your own little section in it.
Say that again.
That almost sounds like an option period, but you're not clicking the option period. You're actually putting it in the section in the contract where you can write a whole whatever you want in there.
Yeah, it. Can you guys see this? Let me.
I think this is your own contract that you made up. It's not Texas.
Yeah, I don't use a real estate contract because it's not necessary. Can you guys see my contract here?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it right there.
Oh, the termination.
Any and all days.
Do you go over your contract with your clients online? Right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I send it via DocuSign, and as soon as I call them first, so I get all of their information, and then I call them, and when I have them on their computer, oh, I haven't got it yet. No, it should be there any second. Maybe refresh your email. I have them refresh their email one time before I send it. So that way I know that they're on their computer. It's all in the head. And then I send it. So now they're sitting there anticipating it. And then I walk them through it. I walk them through right there. Once they get to the bottom of the first page, go ahead and click right here, initial that. And it automatically take you to the next one. I want you to scroll back up so we can be transparent, and we go through it, click that, and it takes you to the next page. I walk them through right there on the spot.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
How many pages is the contract, your contract? 2 or 3?
It's 3. And I know that thing verbatim almost and what has the most questions. So I skip over like survey because I have it checked non-applicable. So I skip over that. I'm like, survey, you see it says non-applicable. The next part, Chris is my business partner. He's a licensed broker, but he's not representing us. I have to disclose that, like the police when they're going through your house. They have to disclose that they're there. Let's move down. Title review and title policy. Are you familiar with what that means? Okay, great. No big deal. The title company is going to do all of their work, and this basically holds them accountable. So that applies to them. If they don't do it within 10 days, you have the right to get out. I have the right to get out. Next page, boom. Termination period. It says exactly what I told you on the previous conversation. I have the right to do inspections, but I've already done that. So I don't need to come back through and do surveys and all of that. This suffices the state requirements, the due diligence. The next paragraph is our buyer conditions. This states, the first 2 lines state very clearly, I'm paying for title as the buyer. I'm paying for closing costs. The only thing that I don't pay is your prorated taxes. And if you have an HOA, which in most cases it doesn't apply, the rest of the paragraph talks about you're responsible for anything that's back due, and I'll take care of the transfer. Everything else, there's no homeowners association, pretty self-explanatory. Any property that you want, get it out before we close. That makes sense, right? Okay, great. Check there. 3rd page. I didn't twist your arm. I didn't get you drunk. Under no duress did I make you sign this today, right? Okay, boom. This is the final agreement. There are no realtor fees, no closing cost in your behalf. Go ahead and sign there. I walk them through it real quick, real fast, so they just, and it's all because of what we talked about today. With the right framework, you have the permission to do that.
Okay. And so like, I have another question. So if you find a buyer for the property and the buyer wants to inspect the property themselves, do you just tell them no, because I've already done the inspections?
Absolutely not. No, they have the right to do that. My contract states that the buyer has the right to do that.
So what do you tell your clients when you try to inspect the property again?
Every situation's different. If the property's vacant within 24 hours of us getting a contract, I've got a whole system. I've got about almost 100 employees now. We just hired a few more. I've got almost 100 employees. And as soon as I hit contract and it goes into my system, I've got 3 gals. One takes it to title, one starts setting up marketing, and the other one starts setting up showings. And so what that looks like is she goes over there. She has a courier that we use here in Dallas, and she puts a lockbox on it and then calls the people, hey, I put a lockbox on the house. We're the guys that are buying the house. I need you to go put a key in there, or can you meet my courier over there at 2 o'clock to put the key in there? We'll give you the code, things like that. So that way we can get appraisal and insurance and things like that that are pretty standard for title.
Right.
See my quotes?
Mm-hmm.
So that way we don't have to bother them. Now, if they're still living in the property, we don't have the right to put a lockbox on there, but we do the same thing. You know, hey, Josh, how's the packing going? Oh, good. You guys are all cleaned up. Good to hear. Good to hear. Well, we're ready to move forward. I've got to get some guys over there to take a look at the property for insurance and just verify that you guys are moving forward with your end of the deal, okay? What time works best for you, 2 or 4 o'clock today? My girls are good. My girls are good. They will get in there, and we have a courier, Daniel. He goes over there and meets with them. He knows the process. He shows the property to these investors so that they're not talking to our sellers, all of that.
Yeah, I had to deal with that. Like, so not everybody's a cash buyer. Some people use hard money. You got to get an appraisal for hard money.
Right.
In there. So I had to go there and show the house for, his contractor, and then I had to go there and so with the appraiser too. So
I did the same thing with my last deal. Like, I just learned about the appraiser and everything with my last hotel.
Well, why don't we do this, you guys? It's 1:30. I need to jump off here. I appreciate you guys for joining in. There was a lot of great content, feedback, as well as interaction today. Please, if you guys know anybody in this business that's interested in gaining knowledge, add them to this group. The more people, the more knowledge we can get from each other. As soon as this recording is downloaded, I will upload it into Facebook so that y'all can go back and watch it, take notes. And then in the meantime, if you guys have a topic or conversation or something like that that you guys want to discuss on future Zoom calls like this, please don't hesitate to add them to the comments of the videos or as post in the group, okay?
Awesome.
Oh.
All right, guys.
Thanks so much, Bryce.
Thanks, Bryce.
Love you guys. God bless. Stay sharp.
God bless.
Will do. God bless.
Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.